Okay. Communication line streams, high position location line connections, open all track centers. It's all about understanding to keep the vibrations high. It's now time, position, location, and directions. You understand how intelligence works. It surfaces on the levels of atmosphere location of change. So if you change your body, electrical light conditions, anything to formation of lights or anything to that conditions, it can be position of taking over. Let me say that again. It can be position of being taken over. Taking over the electrical light and rotation calculation to the line. Clone channels, high position location directions. Now, high interference location is all levels of view, how you set your line conditions, your measures, how to basically put your plasma lights or communication of being aware of everything that's inside you, everything that you do, everything you eat, everything you see, everything you drink is all connected to your line conditions, all position of time. So it's to understand keeping your formation locations of light, keep the vibrations high in your rhythm patterns, change your program setting, make sure you change your clocking line system location calculations, try to communicate to more levels of you, really understand the heart lines and its communication cycle. Reset line center locations if you have problems with your rhythm patterns, understand your inner line center locations calculations, all levels of you through the division. So today in position, we're going to travel through the line rotation of the brain line conditions. It's a mutation line stream. Now, a mutation line stream is basically understanding how to keep the lights on. You know, you turn the light off and turn the light on in your room. You have to understand how to turn the light on in the brain line center. We're going to go in position location line rotation calculations, right? 1 million line center rotations, future line. That's going to adaptation line and rotation and understand through technology how it positions to its all line. It opens all communication systems to grids. Understand how to go through the graph line center location of its placebo, the cortex line center interference, or anything through its position. All right, this is going to give you a better understanding how to communicate to all levels of point locations. All right, because there's spot lines, spot checks, spot divisions, metro lights, metro interference, high line position location directions, interference line connections, graph location channels, theta position location and perception. There's so many things that's in your brain system. So in that position line stream, you get a better division to your line, how to communicate to all graph line system. Okay. It's all about understanding the position location, how you use your center lines, how you use your location in your ears. You got the right line center in position of the earth, and you got your left position location of space. It communicates all levels of your receptor interference. But you have to stay in the proactive system of the balance location, which is this now. Why do you think I do 1,500 videos for you guys? For my health? No. I'm here in divine timing to get you guys prepared to everything through memory. More memory, the more understanding what happens next. One more time. The more memory, the more you understand what's going to happen next. If you don't, the inner line center location to its ego, the ego's taken over through its alteration line and rotation. You're separating your system locations, and now the avatar is taking over you. You don't want that line center interference locations because it can reprogram your location. Okay, so now's the time to really pay attention to these things. We will discuss this on Zoom. It's very important. And we also would discuss what's going on in the future line communication system. That gives you a better understanding through adaptation. All right, so in calculations, let's see where we are. Make sure you do your pre-flight checks and that lines, all the position and directions. Jill, thank you very much. Pam, how's it going? Terry, Don, all levels. Johnny, Michael, Gypsy, all levels connections. Danielle, Abby, all levels of Terry. Let's see. Heather, connections. Airbender, all level connections. Let's see. Val. All center line centers, Chris, communication system, allocate time, switch interference position of perception line. It's all communication of the system. So the avatar has to really pay attention online. Okay, understand the grids, activation stream the line, center, interference, location of directions. Center lines, communication of lines, open signals, open interference, location of direction line, rotation. So in calculations, we're going to go through white graph line stream. Now, white graph line stream is set line, center, rotation, interference. Sunlight communication, moon interference position locations, all of system line centers. This is the sun and the moon, but why is the moon so small? You have to understand how to understand electrical light interference and position location and directions. So the moon is going through a new transformation of a new birth line center at 001 location. In direction location of the sun, Mutates high system, communicate to high inner rotation calculation, spin cycle and position in the same direction location as panel, opens position of direction. So it calculates modify high stream interference, a spaceline communication of time, rotation to its position location, top rotation light stream, in rotation line center. Now in that calculations, we're going to revamp communication back into the center line communication system. Open all ground line center rotation interference, put position location and directions. This is going to high signal your locations to your clocking system. Intelligent line center and position location directions. High signal locations, high position, signal interference, position directions. High channel line center in the sun and in position location in the moon. High rotation interference, line connections. Open up power line center, generation light stream location, energy fields. Platitude 5, position location and directions. High signal locations in a dome line center and orbit interference location in the setting. High rotation to all levels in position locations to a solar graph location. Starlight position of directions. Now, high signal aids position locations is all of an O code signal line rotations. Identification of flight navigation 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 line center line rotations, unified line connections, initiate run program. Done through equation line rotation calculations. Set up brain scan position location operation line centers. 1 million trap line center future line rotation calculation code signals into high system. Now we go into line rotation diversion location. Unified light stream in line rotation calculations. 369 pattern high position locations. Moon online center locations. Sun communication program setting. Open all communication system. High center code signal line center identification code stream line center locations. Ground line channel, star line center location, bracket interference, 5 line 6, line 1, 2, 6 line 1, 8, line center rotation calculation. Open all communication code signal, high rotation line system, alpha channel communication, delta line centers, omega communication system. Allocate line center interference, platitude division location calculations. Online channel to its communication, its alpha wave line center, and position location and directions. Into high system location of sectors, vectors, quadrants, dimension line center, intergalactic location. Done. Traveling high center interference. All right. Have fun. So as you're going to position location line center, okay, we go in position locations to all levels. Now try to understand the calculation, how you use your geometry setting. It opens the line center interference. Okay, so that interference location is all levels. Understand the location of travels. 1 position, 2 position, 3 position, 4 position location, right? All in division line center, okay? So it's kind of like understanding how to put this in sector, this in sector, this in sector, and this in sector into one position location to pieces of a puzzle. Understand that communication system. Now, once you understand the position locations, everything has to be in position of connections, right? Coming into high line center interference of direction location, all right? It's got to be in correlation to each other, all right? So that's a turn standing where you have to stand where you set your locations to your sun and your moon, all right? Now, if you look really closely, you can see the intelligence in position, location, and direction. Ooh-ah, there's the intelligence. High force line center in position location. X2000 comes in, line direction, and line center location, right? High channels, high line center in position to all levels, okay? Scan position location and directions. Opens all signal locations. Scans everything in high line center geometry interference location to its calculations. Opens all channels in position of direction. All right? Now, what you do with your high line center is all energetic pattern. Electrical light interference location of a ground system location to its circle. In position locations calculations. Centering its high line center in rotation system to its calculation to its high strain. All right, go from here all the way up. Out signal, outline center. It's gone. So the measure line center changed rotation calculations, all levels. Crown center line centers a crop circle location position. Scans position of the center line. Opens all communication. Zips out outline center interference. So in that calculation, opens all levels of intelligent line. Now, open up communication system is really understand how to travel through the line centers. Travel through line centers, all level connection, and how it sets position location and levels of measure. Let's go through the sun interference, right? So this is purple, but now it's blue, right? So remember, anything through purple is all levels of triangle. You understand adaptation line stream. Now, adaptation line stream is all calculation how you use your sun graph. The sun graph can be on so many portal locations or realms. You got a box interference, position locations, 45-degree angle to window graph line rotation with calculation. High channels is high line center and graph line center interference location and measure. Platitude vision location calculation. So this is like a metal screen of space line communication. It highlights its channel. Now the TV reception opens all communication around box. Now we got communicated TV reception lines. It opens up communication stream centers in position, location, and directions. High channels is operation line stream and high force line connection. Okay? So it's all about understanding how to use your TV reception lines. All right, it's extremely important when you understand more levels of view through track location. This puts you in a better division line center. Coloration path, high center locations, all levels, how you use your electrical lights in your communication cycle. High generation light centers and position, location, and directions. High level graph line center and rotations calculations. High position locations, all levels, and how you use your simulation graph line system. Singular line center, circulatory line and rotation calculations. Electric view on this communication system. All right. So each realm is a representation of perception line. Now, this correlates its line center. Let's say 1,000 line center is an offline rotation calculations. All right, 1,000 line channel location. Then you get position location of 2,000 line connections. This is your perception going to the high system. And to 3,000 line connections. All right, there's 3,000 in rotation line connections. So every time you're traveling, you're channeling your clocking line system. It's opening up all levels of line center. In position locations into 4,000 line connections, all right? Into 5,000 line connections. It's all position, location, and direction. How fast you are going is all levels of provision. So understanding that calculations, you have to understand the wind cycles. Now the wind cycles come in all line center location, how it interlines its position of location, how you set signals. Now, setting signals is all number frame line rotation. Each one represents its position location of time, position location of space. It highlines its channel to all line rotation, running on the grid lines on my, Tron light. Okay. So that's an indication location line system, how to use your line rotation line connections, what it is in plasma lights or anything hologram on structure. So it's all position locations. To understand what's inside you is all levels of information. All right, it's how you use it through calculations. All right, so into that 1,000, 2,000, 3, 4, and anything through 5,000 channel location of perception, your TV reception line changes its position, levels of its waves. Wave line center electrical light connection, position locations, 1 line signal in position location, 2 line position location, same coloration line stream in position location line connections, 4 waving cycles and interference line direction. All right, so it's very complicated if you don't understand what you are through the avatar. It signals its line center and in rotation calculations. So it's amazing to understand the line center interference, how it comes into all levels. Ground interference of the atmosphere lines changes space line communication. Center position of directions. So these pixel line streams changes position, location, and direction. High positions line stream location sets line signals in line rotation. Okay. So it's amazing how we change line centers. It's very powerful when you connect to higher level perception. So it's like all levels of a T reception line just in one communication cycle. Now that cyclone is understanding to you, but you have to understand the position, location of light through the left and everything through the right line position. That opens up more communication line systems, right? So, all right, synchronizing energetic connections, getting stronger and stronger. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We're shifting into a wave together. That's exactly what it is. You guys are waving into such a line centers. So it's all position location of calculations, putting one solar graph into one direction, one clogging system into one direction, one perception in one direction, in 2 line centers, because you have 2 eyes, right? 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, right? So you have 2 of everything. 2 line centers of glasses, 2 line center location of your hair, 2 line centers of your finger locations, right? Measuring communications, see the fork line and position location. So it's sure understanding all levels of you. You have to understand the left and the right hemisphere line center. It opens all position, location, and perceptions. That channels you into higher line connections, all right? Using the triangulation is all level position, location, calculation. How you represent your locations of light and how you represent your locations of your dark is your proactive system location of travel. Sending course line center location is all levels of view through its position. So in that line center, everything is position locations to space and time. Calculation on line center, box line rotation, simultaneously position of directions. Space communication system to timeline center interference. All right. Rotate cycle and position locations into another round line center. In a Fibonacci sequence in one way in position to the opposite wave position direction. All right. Setting signals to high position location directions. Right. So what you concentrate on is everything through the center line that you created location to its position. It opens up 9 line centers in position location of all levels and how you use your code signal into dimensional setting to walkway surface location to its realm. Now, it's a coloration. This is a coloration wormhole. Now, understanding the coloration is all levels of view. It correlates its highline center in circles, okay, in position of direction. From this position to that position, right? So the more you understand the channel line, the security measure changes its plateau. It changes interference line position, location, and directions. It's how you position locations and how you use your calculations, all levels, okay, to your geographical system. The GPS line center has to understand you through provision, okay? That's the only way you can understand anything through channel line center in a measure communication to all level system to a dimensional box surface and to dimensional line center in a rotation cycle and a clone line center location, a rainbow graph location of round line system to a tunnel. Okay? So there's a lot to understand here, guys. The more you high rise, the more you understand provision, the more you understand your travel lines. It's very powerful when you get more levels of view and sideline. So you got a triangle force line communication, right? Triangle force line communication. But this is just a triangle. So understanding the force line. What's the force line? Well, it's all position moving forward. The sonar line center. In position locations, into backline system, into uprise location, into ground line rotation. There you go. Calculation, outline stream. There you go. There's the triangulation, all position. See, it's gone. So it's really basically understanding how to travel. Remember, you're traveling through the line center every single time, right? So in position locations, this is you, 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 this is you. 1, 2, 3, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, remember I was telling you about the coaster, how you see light signals, pattern line center rotations, or anything calculations. It's all about triangulation, right? Triangulation is everything through formation, how to put it in position, location, and directions. It's all about putting things together in a high system. So that's our understanding where you come to light line center interference. You put triangle locations in the center line position location of calculations. These are window lock locations of dimensional setting, high position location calculation. Interference of channel lines opens all communication cycle. The cyclone channel changes all line position location of its intelligence. Line signals its position, right? High position in the track line center on the line center rotation. Calculation, interference, location, and directions. High position location is calculations. High position, it's high line center. It's all about how to travel through all levels of electrical light conditions. In position, location, and directions, you get graph line channels to its graph location. All right? You see the intelligence? See the eye lines, the nose? Intelligence, guys. See? There's intelligence. There's the eye line. Now, if I color high line center interference, it's at the green location. All right, so as you can see, one line center interference. This is where your eyes are different on position, location, directions. There's the intelligence, right? Intelligence traveling line center. Once the travel understands position location, understands its position on line, opens up a new scepter line communication system to a new antenna, high center location of position. High interference line communication system. Now open out communication line streams, put position location in a better direction location to a center line connections. All right. So it's very powerful when you're doing these things. The more you understand communication, the more you understand all line center, how you are set up through geometry interference. All right. Setting signals, okay, in a flap line center location. See the flaps? Now, that's opening power line center rotation calculations. Electrical light interference, all position, initiate run program. There it is. Running program locations. So right away, everything through triangle force line changes all line rotation calculations. You're automatically into a swirl of activation stream location and its position of time. Changes directions into 12 line centers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 circle location, position of time. Now, once you go in that line center, it changes position location on the line to the sun line communication. Sun's here in high center. This is very high rise information, guys. All right. Now, in position location, the moon. Now, the moon is set its line center. It's traveled here, position location. It's traveled back here in line center. It's traveled across line center interference. And it's back into the center line connection to its position of time. Okay. So you have to understand sequence pattern. Interline position of clocking how fast the sun is going in line center location to your binary reset line. It's communication with factor communication over ride center, okay, into run program location times calculation times pi. Modification high center interference is to understand the adaptation to your sun and your moon rotation. All right. So, so understanding what's going on is the mostly platitude visual locations of space and time location lines. All right. Let's see. Do we use a Fibonacci to ensure returning back to the same location after travel? You don't travel back to the same location because you're in a future line communication system. So if you're in an alpha line center, airbender, you have to truly understand what you're doing through division. So if you're going into 2 million line center line interference, you have to understand the location of where you started from. The starting is its new beginning. So remember, everything that I draw, okay, anything I add is a new equation, is a new graph, is higher levels, more levels in the future line. So this is the true understanding. You don't ever go back, you keep going forward, multi-pass. You're never going back, you're always moving forward in location. So you go from one atmosphere line to another atmosphere line to another atmosphere line. You're never going back, you're never going back. You can't go back, you're always moving forward. So your location is moving forward, airbender. Okay, so you're never going back to its location. Location of your position is more acceleration of more time. It sequences its pattern. That changes its Fibonacci sequence in position locations of what you're doing through your alpha, delta, theta, vega, or omega communication system to its track location. All right. So you're always moving forward. You're never going back. Okay. Your heart line center is always moving forward. You are moving forward. If you're going back, you're in a negative cycle of an ego line. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right. Remember that. So that's when I say back, I mean going forward. You have to go forward in life, guys. Space moves forward with you. It doesn't move against you. It moves against you. You're no longer in that position. And now you're separated from your avatar stream. Okay. So understand that calculation of system locations. All right. Very powerful when you understand more levels of you. All right. So. No, never in the same spot. Back is in the now, but the now is more in the future. So I just added this line center. If I add anything else to the sun and the moon in position of geometry, it moves it forward more into the future, airbender, or everybody else. So backing system to its location is all levels of what? You're always referencing. You're always referencing. You're never in a force channel interference. If you're in a force channel interference, you're bringing the negative cycle. Okay, and that's stopping line center location to heart line rotation. Off in position location, when you're going back in the heart line center, you're moving faster into more line center of the future line. Okay, so don't get confused with that. So when I say back location, you're moving forward. That's what it is. So when you're drawing sequence locations, you're good, right? So you're in the future where you are line center. You never go back in sequence. You're always moving forward because that's what it is. So it's kind of like understanding Monday, but you stay in Monday location. But understand Tuesday, but you go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're going backwards because there isn't 7 days a week. You live in the same day, just different frequencies. So the channel line center changes position location, how you use your geometry location on your acceleration. You're mocking speed line center every single time. You're changing all levels of you through your tesseract, which is connected to your tetrahedron. You have to understand how to open sequence locations. right? It's the same thing with position and location when it comes into your number sequence. Your number sequence is everything, right? 4, 4, 4, 4. We got in that line center, right? That is a basic line center. That is a portal line rotation to calculation, all position location calculation. It's going forward, right? So it line screens its graph. That sets up its location and direction. That's how you set up a grid because it's equal. If a 4-line center dropped into 3-line center location, it would erase one of the grid lines. Okay, it would be off grid like this. It'd be erased out. There you go. You can't travel through it until you get back into 4-line. Once you get back in 4-line, you're back in position location to its grid line system. So it's all about rising 4-line centers. So you go back in calculations, you got 4 positions, 4 positions, 4 positions in that calculation. Once you get into the grid line center, it's like changing your T reception line to a higher line position. So when you get into the grid system, you set up high line center and track locations to your grid system. All levels are 4, 4, 4. Ooh-ah, there's your grid. But everything has to be positioned. I'm giving you guys a multipass. Because you have 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. You're good. You're setting up grids at different levels of vibration or frequencies, right? Understanding the grids is understanding you through time. Time, position, location is all levels of you, how you see space, right? Position, location, and directions. I know that's a big one. But that's a true understanding how it gets so complex. So getting out of the track line centers of 7 days a week, okay, is not backlocking. It's releasing positions going faster. The faster you go, the more you calculate and balance out your sequence location of your binary line centers. Now, a binary center line rotation is its membrane and communication levels. It's the microbiome. That's communication to all levels, how it sets the nanotechnology in its position, location, of directions, right? So it's all about channeling you in all line center, all about channeling you in all line center, all about channeling you in all line center, how you use your position location of your geometry interference of your clocking system to its position, location, of direction. Ooh-ah. Okay. So you got sequence pattern line triangle locations, 3-line center here, 4-line position, 6 position location here, 7 here, 8 here, 1 here, and 2 here. All right. So it's all about understanding 3 positions is always the sun. That never changed positions, right? Now, 6-line center is always the moon line rotation. Now you got to come into triangulation right away into position of direction. All right. So once that's set up as locations, you know, all of the number line center, the triangulation automatically zips odds through into mutation location. Set in signal already, right? Once you have the triangulation of the sun and the moon, you're already in triangulation. So you set up a plasma channel. I know it's complicated, right? Is everybody complicated enough? So the plasma channel opens up communication. You open up position locations, all levels of travel, position location of time, high satellite connections, right? That opens up another stream interference, position of directions. That sets up a new grid line center to its position location with walkway, right? Walkway line center and position location of directions. So you take the number sequence line center in position, right? High position locations, right? So it's all about understanding how to change the triangle line center location of its tesseract, putting it into 4444 in position location and directions. Now you can have one cyclone, you can have another cyclone in direction location of its position. But the triangulation is this force line that opens up its portal communication of its plasma line center to its realm line center of its connections. Ooh-ah. So there's a lot of things you guys need to understand. All right. Scanning plasma, gridding, binary data scanned, it's cleared. Well, there you go, Terry. See? Knowing what you know now, 1,000,000 years in future line of rotation, it's microbiome. So the more you understand the future line, the more it comes into the hologram structure. Hologram structure is your line connection when it comes into how you see yourself from provision location. It's the indication line stream, how you use your number sequence location, the patterns, guys. So it's all about triangulation. Once you understand the triangulation of the sun and the moon, because you're living that long rotation every single day, you can change the number sequence, but you got to plot it to digital locations. If you want to energize the line center and set up hologram structure, everything has to be in the same number correlation system. It has to be 4444, 2222, 3333, 1111, because it's a portal. To set up the portal is to set up the grid. So you're walking through the grid into the portal line, right? Setting line, center, interference, location, and directions. Changes coloration, sets up its grids. Walkway surface, height, channel line, center, and position, location, and direction. Ooh-ah, there's the grid. Crossing streamline center and position locations, all levels. Open up higher line channels. Sonar coming in line center and interference location, all levels of delta wave interference. So there's a lot of things you guys have to understand. Your job to line center is to understand you through letters, numbers, and shapes. Understand your data stream is understanding more you through provision location to its calculations. All right. All right. So I'm going to take you guys out. High line center interference, 30 line centers in position. Now you're back. Signal interference, high channel. All right. All rotations go calculation, but it's very powerful how you come into your own grids. Once you understand the sequence pattern, how it calculates modify high interference 4444, you have your grid line center, a rotation to its critical locations. But anything in a 4-line center in a position location low graph into 3-line position, you have to put the 3 back in the 4-line. So your atmosphere could be off, your clocking could be off, your measured communications of your weather patterns, your connections to your airlines, anything through the escape line, geometry interference location connections, your inner child line center could be off. You have to put everything back and forth to set up the grid interference. You don't set up a grid, you can't travel through a portal. Ooh-ah. Imagine how powerful class today is today. So it's a lot to understand, right? It's interesting when we look at these things, right? Knowing exactly what you just finished doing. How to understand you is all levels, how you use your letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols, guys. Everything works for you, not against you. The only way it uses you through against line is you change the vibration of you through emotion. You change your emotion line center, you're changing your position locations of your numbers. Your number no longer centers in position location of lulls, and the grid line center positions falls into 2 in position of 1 in position location of 0. Oops. Right? You got to put all this back in line center. So there's a lot of things we have to understand. There's a lot of things we have to also discuss too, right? On Zoom. So we're going to leave it there. There's a lot going on right now. I'll give you guys 20 minutes, half an hour to really get into the acceptance of what's really going on with your track lines and your communication out to our stream. It's really understand how to measure your communication systems of letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. Activation, stream interference, location line connections. Adios.